These vintage Canadian lanterns from the era 1910 to 1960, made of sheet metal, have developed a rusted patina that gives them a striking character. I photographed them at the local Sanford & Son Antique Emporium in booth 27, which inspired the title of this painting, Booth 27. These antiques once lit homes, farms, railways, and other spaces. Today they serve as a decorative reminder of the past. Let's paint these beauties. I've left the pencil lines dark so you can follow the lanterns as they are painted layer by layer, moving left to right through blue, red, and rust tones. I'll demonstrate the patina and glass globes while painting the other areas offline so I can stay immersed in the creative process. I work from a reference photo and continue to learn realism with each new painting I share. Clear water is applied to the entire paper so that when the color is applied, it will be a very soft appearance. The first layer is a layer of yellow ochre to give the walls an antique look. For the first lantern, I am color blocking the image with ultramarine blue and allowing it to dry. To achieve the patina effect on the lanterns, the first layer is smooth and soft, and the additional layers, the brush strokes are short, random, and is applied with a dry brush to dry paper, working light to dark, building up the texture with each layer. It will build the effects of the metal and paint aging with time due to the elements of oxygen and moisture. The colors used to produce the patina look are ultramarine blue, burnt sienna, and occasionally a dash of yellow ochre to give the green oxidant effect. Each light glaze is layered and left to dry, balancing the details from dark, medium, and light tones. The right of the lantern is in shadow, therefore darker, and the left of the lantern is in the light, so lighter. However, as an artist, you must find the perfect balance to achieve the realism of the object you are painting. And by doing so, the image lifts off the page and becomes three-dimensional. For the glass globe, I approach this part by looking at the small areas on the reference photo and trying to reproduce what I see, and transfer them to the paper. By focusing on little sections, identifying the lightest sections and the darkest sections, and just painting a little at a time, the glass becomes real. Use a wet and wet technique and very watery application of pigment to the paper. Let the colors blend and mix for the blurry reflections. I use very thin glazes to shift the color for the glass. And for the reflections, I use more pigment, less water with a drier brush on dry paper to paint the shapes in. I like very much to use the calligraphy brush for the wet and wet techniques. It is a looser style. And then for the finer details, I use a smaller brush. Moving on to the red lantern, we wet the area first with clear water to allow the pigment to soak into the paper. The first layer is color blocked using alizarin crimson. It is quite bright. I add a splash of ultramarine blue to create the purple tint for the darker patches of rust that I see in the reference photo. They will sit under the final layers and add to the dimension of the object. By layering burnt sienna with a subtle hint of ultramarine blue on the handles of the lantern in a blotchy, textured way, the rust is really becoming obvious on this lantern. The same techniques of wet on wet, glazing, and dry brushing, stippling with the brush, are used on each lantern. The colors may vary, but all the techniques are identical. There are moments when the paint is lifted off to create a lighter spot where the lantern's areas are slightly lighter or duller in color, or even a tiny bit dusty. A darker red glaze is applied to tone down the brightness of the color. By adding in the darker tones, it pushed areas forward in the painting. After applying clear water to the third lantern, the first layer is painted in a very watery ultramarine blue. And this will set up the additional layers for a green oxidized look that happens when metal is exposed to the elements. I continue with texturing the rust with short, dry brush strokes in a very random pattern. The second layer is yellow ochre and a touch of burnt sienna. By painting the dark areas, it helps to develop the medium tones so that the parts of the lantern become connected one piece at a time. The position that you hold the paintbrush helps with the details within the painting. Closer to the bristles, more fine detail, more control. If your hand is away from the bristles to the middle or the end of the handle, you have less control. Loose strokes, in this case, more texture, the fun part. How you use your brush and the way you load your brush with paint and or water really is a huge part of the outcome. It's like as an artist, we make decisions on the spot. With watercolor, there is a chance to recover by lifting paint off a paper with a little water, some paper towel, and a scrub of a clean brush. You can refine the detail, correct shapes. If you have overdrawn an area or left something out, you can add it. It's a wonderful medium to work with. Adding a watery layer to the globe for a soft texture, splattering some gray drops onto the globe for the spots that I see in the glass. Once the paint is applied to the third lantern, I travel back through to the other lanterns and make some updates to the details, darkening a lot of the areas to make the objects pop off the page. Once the crate, bucket, shelf are painted in offline, I can see how the objects are in relation to each other and further develop the range of tones, especially in the reflection of the crate in the globe of the blue lantern. I flipped the piece upside down for 2 reasons. It's easier to reach and also to get a different perspective. It teaches you to see the picture from a different angle, and you start to see different aspects that you missed when the picture was upside right. Now the brain is braining, right? Okay, now back the other way. Serious business now. Just refining the colors, detailing areas that go from meh to wow, keeping the petal on realism. I really enjoy this part very much. It's where all the work comes together. This painting was completed over a couple of months, broken down into many sessions. I hope that you enjoyed this and helps you with your next rustic patina project you may have on the go. Thank you for watching.